I'm 46 years old, and life has changed for the good and greater. I should have realized this when I was 24 years into my jobs. I worked two jobs, two of them for 12 years apiece. That's 24 years of my life that was taken from me, that I could have spent time with my family, that I could have had proper vacations, that I could have lived a great life, that I could have lived a healthier life. And what I'm about to get into this video is what my title mean and why I did it. First, you're going to want to know is, what did you do, and how did you just walk off on a job on a vacation? I worked at a job for 12 years in a production company on an assembly line. And I don't know if this resonates with some of y'all, but I hope it does. I worked for 12 years on that assembly line, standing in one spot for like 10 to 12 hours a day, plus overtime. Not realizing that I was a slave, or I was slave to the system. My mindset wasn't there. My mindset was fixated on my next check. That's what my mind was fixated on. My mind was fixated on is how I'm going to pay my next bill. If I leave this job, I'm going to be out on the streets. I had all that fear in my mind. And that's not the right mindset to have. And with all that fear in my mind, it caused me to have bad health, poor money management. It also had attitudes, which is reflected on my personality. All that reflected on me working that job. Until one day my friend came up to me. A friend that came up to me, he didn't even graduate high school, okay? He did not graduate high school. He did get his GED, which is almost similar to general education, same thing. But he didn't graduate high school. He didn't go on stage or nothing like that. I was at the gas station in my raggedy, beat up jalopy, going to my 9 to 5. You know, I was early because I was 30 minutes early, and I was only like 5 minutes from the job. They want you to come in early. They want you to clock in so you could be in on time. So I ran into him. I went in and got a cup of coffee. Bad health. I had bad health, drinking crap that wasn't healthy. I wanted coffee because I knew that I'm going to be up for the next 10 hours on my feet at this production company in one spot for 10 hours. Of course, they give us breaks, but that's not the case. This is how it reflects on 10 hours standing up in long periods of time. Sometimes 12. They asked me, you want to stay 2 more hours? And I did stay 2 more hours for that $14 an hour. I did. But my point is, back to my friend. He came up and he pulled up in a nice truck, like he just bought it off the showroom floor. And he saw me and I saw him, and I said, hey. And I went over there and talked to him. I said, man, I haven't seen you since high school. And at that time, we were out of high school for maybe about 7 years out of high school. And I said, this is your truck? He said, yeah. So in the back of my head, I was judging him. I was thinking, like, this dude didn't even graduate high school. He didn't even graduate. How in the world he's got this $50,000 truck at that time? $40,000 truck at that time. Trucks are now higher. Trucks are almost $100,000 now, but trucks are like what, 70,000? Some of them, if you get the whole full package. But at the time, this truck was brand new, 40,000. And so I told him, I said, what do you do, man? I was very curious because I saw his truck. And he said, man, I haven't seen you in a while too. What are you doing? I said, man, I'm working at this crap production company. And he said, how long you been there? I said, man, I've been here for almost 11 going on 12 years. And he said, really? He said, man, you need to get you a CDL and go to the oil field. That's what I'm doing. And he said, dude, he said, how much you making? Oh, I said, I'm making about $800 every 2 weeks. He said, $800 every 2 weeks? He said, bro, I'm bringing in almost $1,500 every week. And he said, if not $1,500 every week. So I'm like, at that time, it was good money in the oil field because he was a CDL driver for the oil field. And I was like, 1,500? He said 1,500 and I only do 70 hours. After my 70 hours, I'm good. I said 1,500. And so that is equivalent of every 2 weeks of getting paid. That's equivalent of $3,000 at that time, a long time ago. This is 24 years ago, which is pretty good money at that time. And so I'm like, what? He's making twice as more than me at a lower. So I was like, I got to do something. And he said, man, you need to get you a CDL. He said, if I stay sometimes, he said, I could work outside my 70 hours and work outside the truck and I can make a lot more. They asked me, you want to stay more? And he said, sometimes my checks are sometimes up to $2,000 a week, but 1,500 is my average. If I want to spend time, go hang out, go do what I want. I have a CDL. And he said, but I work 2 weeks on, 1 week off, which is, I don't care. That's a lot of money. And so I said, how did you do it? He said, man, I went to truck driving school. I did all 48 states for about a year and a half. And then after I left doing all 48, I got in the oil field locally. And now I'm happy. I'm making the best money as I can. He said, if I would have stayed as a trucker, I would have made good money as well. But this is what I want to do. I'm home every time. I mean, I'm gone for 2 weeks and home for 1 week. And I'm still local when I'm gone. He said, I'm just in the next city over. I love it. It's like, I could do that. And he said, you need to jump on it now. I just bought this brand new truck off the showroom floor. And he said, I gave them, $10,000 down. I was like, what? He said, yeah, I gave him 10 grand down. And I just bought this sucker. I was like, you can too. So he encouraged me. I was like, oh, man, I'm sitting there. He said, man, I got to go, man. I just got off from work. I got to go spend time with my wife. I got to go. And he left. I'm sitting there in the middle of the gas station looking and pondering like, he did it. I can do it. And I decided to take that step. I was gearing up. I had to build up the courage. I couldn't just stop my job on 12 years and jump in it. I had to muster up the courage. So I texted him. I said, hey, what CDL school you go to? He told me the CDL school in another state far up on the West Coast. He showed me and he said, hey, talk to this recruiter. He could talk to you. And so I called the recruiter up, nervous. I called the recruiter up and the recruiter said, oh, you interested? And the recruiter said, let me ask you these two things before I take the next step. He said, are you over 18? I said, yes. Do you have a driver's license? That's really good. And do you have 2 forms of ID? I said, absolutely. I have all that. He said, we can get you in. He said, let me set you up to see because we need to pull your driver's record. And so he set it up to where he pulled my driver's record, whatnot. And I had a clean record. He said, oh, that's all they want. If you got a good, clean record and you got a driver's license and you over, I don't know what the requirements now, but at that time, if you was over 18, you could get a CDL. They will train you, literally train you from start to finish. We actually stayed on a campus in dorm rooms like we're in college, which blew my mind because I didn't even go to college. College is not for me. But I knew that I could make more money than what I did. I knew that I can better my life than what I can. And so I went ahead and swallowed my pride, took that big swallow and walked in faith, took that risk. And I said, okay. I talked to my mom. I said, hey, Mom, I'm going to get a CDL. I wasn't living with my mom. I had my own place at the time, but I told my mom I might be gone. And my mom's like, really? You know what? That's really good money. You need to jump on that. I hope you jump on that. Because right now, baby, you struggle. You don't need to be at that job. And then she said, you need to do better. So I was like, Mom, I'm going to be gone. Can I leave I'm finna, get rid of all my bed. Because I had an apartment at the time. I'm going to get rid of all my stuff. Can I leave my personal stuff, like my clothes, main stuff, at your house? Yeah, baby, go ahead. I'm all for that. If you're trying to do that, I'm all for it. And she said, we'll miss you, but go ahead. You need any money? I was like, no, Mom, I'm good. So I ended up going into CDL school. I had to go way across the other side of the country. Well, technically speaking, on the West Coast. I'm down in the Midwest, but I had to go more west. And when I went there and I was nervous. They said, hey, we're going to send you a Greyhound bus ticket through email. They want you to print it out. So I print the little email stub out, went to the Greyhound, gave them the stub, had another stub. They took another stub off, and I went all the way up to to my CDL school. And when I got there, man, I didn't feel so bad because everybody on that bus was out to get the same thing. Their CDL. I met a good guy there, a good friend of mine there, and he was out for same thing. He was a CNC mechanic, and he stopped that to become a CDL because he feel he can make more money. And to this very day, he owns a trucking company, and he is killing it. So if I ever decide to go back into trucking, I still have my CDL. If I ever go back into trucking, I'll go to him and help partner up with him and help him grow even more. Business mind. That's my mindset. My mindset was terrible back then. You ever heard the saying, a terrible mind, a mind is a terrible thing to waste? That was all on billboards back in the 90s and early 2000s. People were saying it left and right. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. And it's true. But now let's fast forward. Now, when I went and got my CDL, and I went and did it in 2 weeks, I had my CDL. I was on the road, actually. I did all 48, and then I came back local. And then after that, but let me go back into the middle. When I left my job it was a guy that was my lead man. He had a CDL. And you know what? He threw salt on me. He said, man, you're gonna get your CDL. At first, I was young. Told him I told you don't never want to tell your coworkers your plan ever, because they will backstab you. They would try to discourage you. Everything. He said, man, I used to have a CDL. I was like, well, quit lying. And his wife, she worked there, and she worked there too. So I'm thinking this. I'm like, how are you 62 years old and you still working a job and you used to have a CDL? And his wife is probably older than him. She was working at production job too, and she had she said, yeah, and I like her. She was so sweet. She said, my husband did have a CDL. And I'm thinking, like, why in the earth did you quit? You could be 62 working at a $12, $13 an hour production company. Something ain't clicking. Either you retired from a truck driver job and you decided to jump into working a regular job because you're not making. 9 times out of 10, guys, when somebody is in their 60s, no offense, and they already retired and they work in another job, that means they're not making enough money. And he said, well, I retired in trucking. I did 30 years and I'm working this production job to make extra money. I'm already getting retired benefits and everything. I'm like, man, something ain't adding right. I would not be at this. That's just me. I'd have had my trucking business going if that was what I was in. You probably thinking like, why you don't have it now? That's not what God placed me in. God placed me into another business, a home service business, is landscaping. That's what I'm doing now. But I still have my CDL if I need to fall back on something. But God is great. He ain't going to let me fall back. The only thing God is going to do is push me forward. So back to what I was saying. He was hating. Man, you gonna be back, man. CDLs is tough, man. You ain't gonna never be home. He just said everything, the negative parts. He never said you can make good money. I think you should do it. If you do it, do this. Or if you do it, start your trucking company. Or if you do it, get in and get it. He didn't say none of that. He only said, you're gonna be back. It messes you up. You're gonna be eating bad truck food that's not good for you. He was right. He was right in a bad part, but he did not encourage me to say, hey, if I were you, get your money and work local. Get into the oil field or do something local. He didn't say none of that. The only thing he said was, you'll be back. CDL is not it. It's not the way to go. I was like, man, and I prayed. I said, God, I rebuke him in the name of Jesus. I rebuke him. And then I started praying and I said, God told me, God placed it on my heart, it's time for me to go. And he's like, you sure you want to do this? You got benefits here? Man, all you have to do is 30 more years. How long you been here? 12 years? Just do 30 more years, you can retire. I said, man, I might not, my health is, man, no, I might not live in 34 years. I might not be able to enjoy the fruits of my life. No. And so I said, man, I'm not telling nobody else. I just left. I put in my 2 weeks notice. I left. You think they cared about me? No, they didn't care. They just said, oh, they're going another one gone. We're going to have somebody new to replace his spot. That's what they did. They replaced me within a heartbeat. They didn't even let me train nobody. They just said, all right, peace, you're 2 weeks over. Boom. I walked off the job my last day, grabbed all my lunch, and left. Left my safety glasses, gloves, left right on the jobs, on the production floor. And you know what? When I left, they had somebody take my spot. Really easy that wanted that kind of money. And so I was like, okay, it's time. It's time for me to change. I got to change everything. I got to change my mindset. And after this, when I was scared because I was taking a risk. To me, it was a risk, but it was a good risk. It was a risk for my future. It was a good risk, but I was scared. I was scared and fear, but yet faith was activating. Every time fear activates faith, guys, if you don't know that. So I was scared, but the faith was activating. I kept going in faith. And look, I became a CDL driver. I started making good money. My first check after I left that training school for 2 weeks, my first check was $1,200 in 1 week. 12. I was like, I called my mom. At the time, I wasn't married. I didn't have I just left out a relationship because she said, man, you leaving? I ain't going to be with you. At that time, my girlfriend, she left me. She said, man, you going to be going on the road. If I can't come, I'm not going to be with you. And I'm not leaving my place. So I was like, all right, cool. You know, we were just dating at the time anyway. So back to that's another mindset trick I had to get out of. But that's another story. So back to what I was saying, I called my mom. I said, Mom. And she said, yeah, what's going on, honey? Everything all right? How's trucking? I said, good, Mom. I got my CDL. I'm on the road. My first check was $1,200 in 1 week. She's like, what, baby? What? That's actually amazing. I was blown away. At that time, 24 years ago now, or actually it was 12 years ago. I was happy. And then so now I end up working. I did my 48 states and I came back local and I started working local in an oil field. And my money doubled, tripled. I was doing in an oil field every week. I was bringing home like $2,000, $2,500 if I did stay more a week. 25. I was killing it, bro. I was killing it. And then the oil field kind of went downhill because it goes up and down. That's how oil field does with the economy. So the economy started dropping and the oil field went down. So I started working local. I said I could even go local. And I started working for a construction concrete company, it was really bad. But the pay was good, as in hourly, but the hours was just unpredictable. And that's when I had to take that step. I had to take that step and change my life. I had to say, you know what? I got to do better than this. I'm at this level. I'm ready to go to a higher level. So I had to put myself up at a higher level. And so that's what I did. I ended up putting my 2 weeks notice in, but I had to plan it out. Just like I had to plan it out at my first production job on 12 years. And it was bad, man. The women were getting the promotions there because either the supervisors or upper personnel was dating the women and the production area or sleeping with them. And they'll get that hot position. And after they get done sleeping with them, they'll toss them to the side and either try to figure out a way to fire them or don't let them go higher. That's how it was. And that I was like, oh, this is straight not me. That's how jobs are. Some jobs have women, no offense to women, but some jobs promote women because the bosses or the supervisors or upper personnel is either dating them or sleeping with them. Sad to say, in some jobs, not all. So don't judge me. Not all jobs. Some are. And the one that I was at, that production job, that was the case. So we couldn't get, they didn't hire within. They couldn't because all the women that they thought that was beautiful and hot was getting those positions. It sucked. So back to what I was saying. Therefore, now fast forward. After I put in my 2 weeks notice, after learning 24 years that I can make my own income, I'm not limited. I was limited at my trucking job. They limit me. They said, hey, you got to get another position, man. You're topped out. I never heard of topped out. They said, if not, you're going to keep getting 50 cents every year. I don't want to get 50 cents a year is not. And then every time they give me 50 cents a year, they also raise my health insurance. So that 50 cents was gone, or 75 cents was gone. And they said, hey, you topped out. You got to find another position. And the position that I applied for, they gave it to somebody on the streets that didn't have a CDL. And they said that everybody that they hire has to have a CDL, just in case, a backup plan. Everybody has to. And then, like after my, 8th, 7th year in there, when I tried to apply, they started hiring people without a CDL. Because they had positions to be filled that you didn't require CDL at that time. So they lied to me when I first got hired. They said you have to have a CDL. That's our rule and regulations. You have to have a CDL to get any position or a position. And then we hire within. You get promoted within. Lies, all lies, lies. So I said, okay, I'm done with this. I got to figure out another plan. So, I prayed. God gave me the revelation of another plan. He said, well, what do you want to do? When I prayed. And I said, well, I want to do a home service business. And I started coming up with these ideas. I could do garage door opening, which is a good business. I recommend anybody that wants to get into garages. My garage is getting ready to get fixed in the next week or so. I already scheduled mine to get fixed. See, and they're going to come in and tweak my garage. My garage is, when I hit the button, it'll close down and it opens back up. So I think it's got some kind of short. So if you ever get into the garage, that's a good home service business. I'm telling you. Garage door openers, learn it on YouTube. Learn how to fix garage door openers and get into that business. That is lucrative. But back to what I was saying. I wanted to do landscaping. And that's lucrative too. Landscaping is like a luxury business, okay? It's a luxury business because people want the luxury of having their lawns looking manicured and good. And that's my craft. And so I decided God, that's my craft. I want to use it. And he said, well, start learning YouTube videos on how to do landscaping. Start going to these groups in Home Depot how to do landscaping and remodeling your home because they have programs. So I start taking up these free programs, start crafting. I start shifting my knowledge. That's another thing you want to learn how to do. If you're going to leave your 9 to 5, you got to learn a craft. And everybody's going to say it. Every rich guru or people that's successful, they're going to say you have to learn your craft or a craft. You have to learn how to invest in your money. You have to learn a trade. You have to learn extra knowledge. And it's true. And then you have to live below your means. I lived below my means right before I left my 9 to 5. What I mean by, but you be like, what do you mean by you live below your means? I need these nuggets. I'm going to give you these nuggets. I'm going to give you these gems. Living below your means is that I used to go out all the time, eat bad food. Now I'm eating healthy food. I'm eating salads. I'm drinking water. I'm not going to the store every 10 minutes buying pop. I'm not buying beer. I had to cut out all that. I don't even smoke. So cigarettes would be irrelevant. So I had to cut out all of that. I didn't even drink them. I didn't even wine every occasion, but I had to cut out all of that. I had to cut out the fast food, going out to eat all the time. I had to turn off I don't need Netflix at that time. I turned off my Netflix bill. I got rid of all my subscriptions. You know, in truck driving food, when I used to go when I used to eat truck driving food, dude, I pulled it up. I got how much I spend. I was spending between $80 to $100, more like $100 a week on fast food that was bad for me because I didn't have time. So I could run in, give me something to eat, and get back in the truck and go, making somebody else rich, making somebody else money. So I said, man, I spent $100 a week eating truck driving food or fast food or store food, fast, hot food. I spent $100. That's $400 a month, right? And if you times it by 12, that's $4,800. That's over $4,000 a year I was spending on food that was bad for my health that I didn't need. I cut that out, so that saved me $4,800 or more. And I cut out all my subscriptions a month from the internet, or the phone bills. Not the phone, but the cables. Entertainment. I cut out all entertainment. Me and my wife, we set a good budget and we stuck to it. Our budget was eat healthy. Chicken, rice, salad. Chicken with veggies. Or chicken with broccoli. Or just chicken with salad again. Or soup. Or something healthy. Avocados. Avocado toast. So we started doing that. I did that until I found my out. When I knew it was time for me to go from my job, I was ready. I had to prepare everything. I had to prepare my mind. I had to prepare my health and wellness. I had to prepare all of that. And that's what I did. I prepared all of those things right there. And then I had to prepare my financial stability. I said, when I'm leaving this 9 to 5, I'm going to leave with my 401k in my hand and my profit sharing. I said, I want to pay off everything. The only thing I want left is, of course, utility bills. You cannot get rid of utility bills. I said utility bills, and I want to pay off all of our cars, my boat. I paid off all my cars and my boat. Paid it all off. I paid off all my cars and my boat and my truck. The only thing I had left was my mortgage and utilities, which I gave myself a 6-month window. I paid up my mortgage for 6 months. I paid all my utilities, my cell phone bill right here for 6 months. And I started my business. I started cold calling, cold knocking on doors, saw things that needed landscaping, saw beautiful, nice houses that I knew people had money and they were willing to spend on landscape. And I saw that because you could see what they drive. You could see their nice house, but they flower bed is all crap, or they got a tree landing on something, or they got something broke, or a tree is on a fence line, or they got some unnecessary stuff on a property. I was able to come in and do that, and now I'm happy. I got some jobs lined up for next week, and it's too cold right now. I can set my own schedule. Right now, it's supposed to be around in the 20s all next week. And I told my new customers, I said, hey, wait till it warm up. When it warm up about a little bit above freezing, we're going to come and do some work. Okay. See, I can control my own schedule. I can control how I get paid. And since I got commercial accounts, I still get paid lucrative each month. Since I'm on a 12-month, some of my accounts are 2 years, and some of my accounts are on 12 months, to where right now I still get monthly pay, enough to pay my bills and be happy and go on vacations, because I got contracts. And when you have contracts, you know what contracts is? You still get paid no matter what. And I'm blessed and thankful I'm able to get paid. So I can take a vacation anytime I want and do whatever I want and still be happy, take cold plunges, wake up happy. I can go in the house happy, no stress. So I hope this video helped you guys. It's a little bit longer than normal, but I hope it helps you and blesses you. Type in the comment section what you do, and type in the comment section, can you resonate with what's going on with the economy and with your job? God bless. Oh, click the link in the description if you want some resources on how to set up your Roth IRA and leaving your 9 to 5. You got to set yourself up financially. You got to put God first and put yourself next. Put God first in your wife if you're married, and then yourself. I'm joking. That's a small joke, but put God first and then put yourself first financially. Thank you and God bless.